The Court of Appeals held that the FAA does not preempt a state's authority to regulate safety with respect to motor vehicles through the state's imposition of common law duties, including by imposing safety requirements on freight brokers in the selection of motor carriers. That decision of this court or another court of appeals. Indeed, the Court of Appeals in this case is the first court of appeals to have addressed the question. No further review is needed. So we're done. Whoa, my goodness. There she is. Samantha,
Hello.
can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. We're doing this live. It's happening. People are watching. This is exciting.
Yep.
Finish Strong Friday. Trey Griggs, I hope you're paying attention. We're a big fan.
Yeah. And my coffee today. I think this is supposed to be a wine glass, but it says mom fuel. And so I feel like it's appropriate for coffee.
It starts with caffeine until about 2 o'clock, and then that transition happens gradually, but increasingly.
Yeah.
Happy Friday.
Definitely.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm standing. So I'm trying out my new standing desk today.
Oh,
and
that's good for your back. That's good. That's healthy. That's a good choice.
And I have a walking pad too, like a treadmill now. So I can like walk while I work.
See, when you get to be my age, you go, I don't necessarily know that I want to do all of that exercise. That makes it sound a lot more like work. We're going to let people, as they comment, we'll throw them up here in the thing. Chris Horton, I'm a big fan. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Happy Friday.
Hi, Chris.
So okay, tell me, you have a new thing now. Tell me about this new thing. What's this all about?
So I think I have a new thing. I'm making it a thing. Like a fun fact about me, I don't like the idea of being too committed to like a podcast. So
oh yeah,
I'm
of course,
loosely calling it a podcast, but I think that's the reason I like this thing that it's becoming is because I just want it to be very casual, to be very conversational, and to feel like a conversation where like the audience feels like they're a part of it. Like I'm hoping that as I do these, it's really going to be a time for the people in the audience to kind of drive the conversations as well and to interact.
I love that. I love that. The thing about like we got Melissa. Melissa, I hope you're doing well. I know you're getting on a flight soon. I think travel safely. You know, it's never a fun time traveling. You got some more
Melissa's
comments.
One of my favorite people.
She is phenomenal. She sent me some great socks, and I am a big fan, and some very soft blankets. Very big fan of that. You know, the thing about content creation, it's this weird thing. So like I've talked to some great people like Charlie and Trey, and they're amazing what they do. And they say, Matt, the number one thing you have to do is be consistent. And I say, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to commit to anything. It might be good advice. It might be great advice, but no, I'm not going to commit to doing anything consistently. Oh, Hayden. I love Hayden. Hayden, we have to talk a little bit later today. We'll have Tyler. We'll have Tyler Robertson. No, you're good. This is what we do, the comments. And we'll talk about the heavy duty parts industry, which is about $34 billion a year. That's billion with a B. So I'm excited for all the adventures happening. You also have a new job. What's this about? Tell me.
Yeah, that too. Actually, I keep joking with Gabe that I'm unemployed right now because I took a few weeks off between roles. So technically, I don't start there quite yet, but I will in the next 2 weeks. So the 22nd.
That's exciting.
I'm actually going to head up to their headquarters and be there for the full week for my first week. So yeah, but I do have a new job lined up, and so I was actually going to ask you, Matt, didn't you go like a few weeks, or am I crazy where you didn't technically have a job?
No, I've never had a job. No,
okay, there you go.
So no, that's a great question. That's a great segue to our own life. So I had a job, and then I quit that job, and then I didn't have a job, and then I made a company, and the company kind of became the job. And so that business of I'm gonna, as we talk, I'll just throw people's comments up as we go along. That's right, Chris. No consistency. That's what it's all about. So I made my own thing. I said, I want to take my time after I leave and find what I really want to do. I want to spend some time. I'm going to sell my car. I'm going to pay my debts by selling vehicles. Like I'm going to do that and figure out what's right and what's next for me. So to your point, like I look at this, we talk about faith from time to time. I look at this for myself. I meet with my pastor every week, and we talk about all sorts of things. But the analogy that I often hear that I love, that resonates with me, is imagine your toddlers walking into a pool and you're right behind them and you're ready if they fall to catch them. You're ready to catch them. And the toddler has no fear because they know behind them is their father or their mother, and they're moving forward. And for me, that's what this has been. This process for myself is I'm walking into a pool. I don't know what I'm doing. I assume it'll work out. I know that my father is watching over me, and whatever happens is exactly what's supposed to happen. So I have found in my own faith a way to kind of reconcile this uncertainty of what it is that I'm doing. And that's the fun part.
And I think, I mean, you made the analogy of a toddler, but it's so funny because I was thinking about that this morning. My son turns 4 today.
Yes, happy birthday!
It's James's birthday, and
happy birthday,
I just
James.
Dumped him with grandma so I can clean our whole house and put up decorations and bake a cake and all the fun stuff.
There you go.
So, but I was just thinking about that, how he lives so fearlessly and so so boldly, and it's just like we lose that. I mean, to an extent, right? We have to be responsible. Like I'm responsible for making sure he's alive and well every day. So I have to make sure that as I go down my employment path, that it's responsible, right? But at the same time, that's kind of what made me think like embrace risk and embrace something different. Because at the end of the day, like the important things are going to be taken care of. There's going to be a paycheck. I'm going to have him taken care of, but I just want to like live a life that is inspiring, that I feel fulfilled in. And when I'm happy and when I feel, you know, like what I'm doing is purposeful and I'm making a difference, then I'm a better person to be around for other people, my son included, and my family included. So very cool.
I look at it and go like, you know, we're called to reject passivity. We're not supposed to just sit and deal with the things we don't like or we think are wrong. And we're supposed to take responsibility, and then we lead courageously. And I think as a content creator, because that's how we first kind of connected. Like what I do is I make videos or talk things. I go to other people's shows and we talk about things. I mean, we got some happy birthday wishes. We're going to throw them in the show notes. Here people are, they're saying happy birthday. But the thing that I love about content creation is one, it's kind of to your point, like what's the worst that's going to happen? People don't like it. Yeah. Okay. We fail. That's the whole point. Like we learn from failure. And you were starting to do a lot of different types of video content, great posts. And I'd be like, this is a content creator who is not afraid to do something that's different. And like, okay, if there's someone who's in this space, I want to talk with them. I want to encourage them because this can be so depressing. Like I remember making videos and I'm like, it's gonna be great. And like, no one watches. I go, oh, this is just for me then. This is just for me. But what got you to say, I want to do this?
Oh man, that's a good conversation. I was just talking about this the other day with somebody, like literally yesterday. And my answer, I'll try to like make my answer a little nicer, but basically what I decided is that I'm in sales. I was in sales when I started my videos. And so in sales, you're talking with shippers in this industry, and you are trying to, you know, figure out what their needs are and how you can help solve their needs, be a partner for them. Well, what I found is that when you're having conversations with shippers, and I'm having conversations with managers, analysts, directors, vice presidents, C-suites, you know, there was a pretty decent range, but an educated customer is my best customer. And that's what I told people. Like the customers I had who really knew the industry and knew the current trends and knew what was going on, whenever we got on a phone call, it was like, bam, like we knew what we were talking about. We knew what needed to be done. You know, we were both taking intentional efforts to educate ourselves on what's going on so that we can make educated decisions and not be as reactionary. And so that's when it clicked for me, like, oh my gosh, if all of my customers could be like this, or the people I want to prospect out, you know, talk to. So I said, okay, I want to start creating content for shippers, like that they're going to find valuable. And another thing, and this is like the meaner way I've said it before, is that I don't do well combating ignorance. So like whenever somebody would try to tell me like this is the way it is, and I'm like, no,
the facts are different than that. You're wrong.
You know what I mean? Like, no. So I would, you know, I also struggled with that. So, you know, that's the less nice way to put it. But like, if you can help people understand what's going on. And so then as I started doing it, I started making these videos and those market updates, literally like 10 hours of research and an
Wow.
hour or two of trying to record to make a 6-minute video when I started,
Yeah.
right? Because it's you're trying to make sure, number one, I'm not saying stuff that's totally ridiculous, that I want to make sure I fact check myself. I have
Yep.
3 other people fact check me before it makes it
Wow.
to a video. You know, like I would encourage like debate. Like I would get in arguments with people in my circle over like if what I said was right or wrong. And so it was all just like, to try to develop myself and to learn more and then to provide that information. Well, all that being said, shippers are like, God bless them, because I don't know how they get what they have to get done every day done, because I feel like there's just constantly things being thrown on them, like these decision makers. And so I'm sitting here going, how many of them have 10 hours in their week to do
Yeah.
this
To
research?
research and keep on top of things. Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
So anyway, that's a long story, but basically what I did is I just started creating content that I felt like, number one was teaching me. So it
Hmm.
was about what I wanted to learn, because the more I did it, the more educated I became and the better position I was in to help my customers. And then number two, to help my customers. But I was thinking today, like, a, I guess the unintended result, what I didn't see happening, is that most of the people like that connect with me and that follow me and have been driving to me are people doing what I'm doing. It's like
Yeah.
other, solutions providers, because we're all hungry to learn, so we can get to a point where we can help have those conversations with our customers. So I feel like that's kind of, how we connected, how I connected with other people. But I built this really cool network of supply chain professionals on the shipper
Yeah.
side and on the solution side. So
And that's, I think, what I love about that, because we want to educate the buyers. Because like the thing that I've always been with, and like my own background, I've, been an attorney, I've done maintenance for big companies. And the thing is like, the more sophisticated the buyer, the happier I am, the easier
yeah.
those conversations are, because I don't want to spend half the time explaining to somebody a thing they ought probably to know. And these content creators, it's kind of a way to learn about, they teach them about you and
Mm-hmm.
your way of
Mm-hmm.
thinking. And they go, I like that way of thinking, that way of doing business. And then you get to this place where you get to these other like thought leaders or content creators. I look at someone like Professor Jason Miller of
Yep.
MSU Eli Broad College of Business. And this is a guy who every day, like a metronome, produces interesting content with data backing up his claims. And it's like, I just want to learn about that. Like, just let me learn.
Yeah.
And then I go, okay, I can just synthesize that into my brain. And then this mosaic gets built. And there's
Yeah.
this aspect of just going out there and doing it. So I started making videos and content because I had no marketing budget. Like no one knew my brand that I was representing. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just make videos and maybe that'll work. And I said, oh, well, this is
Yeah.
good. And as time went on, people were like, hey, let's talk about law stuff. I'm like, all right, I'll learn about it again. I'll get back in the business.
I think you and I are similar though. Is like we both just kind of like do our thing, and it's like, what do we feel like works for us? What do
Yeah.
we like? We don't stick to too many rules or like structure. And I think that that's like, if anything, I would encourage other people to do the same. And maybe, in 2 years, I wouldn't be surprised if I have a structure. In two
Yeah.
2 months, I might have a structure, and I might feel like this is what I like and this is what works for me. But I think the biggest thing with like content creation, or you don't even have to call it content creation. You can just call it personal branding, whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it. Like, it's really just, when you get started, just do what feels good for you to do. Like what feels authentic and doesn't feel forced and feels fun. I hope you enjoy it. Otherwise, just stop. Like,
oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. This is we got some great content comments here. I'm going to throw a couple of them in here. I'm not going to read all of them, but what I want you to, everyone watching, know is that this is a community. Like this supply chain, this is a community of people that do care about each other. And supply chain, as Jason corrected me, it's not a supply chain, it's a supply web. And I think that's a much more interesting analogy of a
yeah.
web of connections.
Mhm.
But that's what these networks are too. And so what I've loved about like something like a LinkedIn is that I can connect with people that are selling to carriers, people that are selling to brokers, people that are selling to like the freight tech companies or the shippers. And you get a really interesting picture that supply chain is all of the things. It's all the things. There's nothing that's
Yeah.
not part of this. You can't opt out of it. You're part of it. And you might say, I don't need to learn about it. And you're like, oh, no, it is. It's all the things that we do.
Yeah.
What do you like
And
making the most? Like the posts, the videos? What's your favorite stuff?
oh man. So I'm gonna get back into my videos, by the way,
Good.
because I took a brief break there between transitioning jobs. I actually don't even currently have a Vidyard login at
StreamYard's awesome, man. I've been very impressed with StreamYard.
like somebody throw at Gabe in here right now. So I need to get that going for my videos or however it is that I'm gonna be recording, because I liked that where I don't like talking at people, like just myself. So I was doing the screen record. So I like, let me show
Yeah,
you what I'm talking about. Let me show you the
sure.
visuals. So I want to get back into that because number one, that forces me to stay up to date on the market, and I need that in my life, because if I don't have something like a timeline, like you have to know what's going on right now, current, that I tend to not as much. The posts I enjoy, and I'll mix those in whenever something, just like strikes my fancy, I guess. It's more like people are like, oh, do you plan your posts? Like, how do you like write these up in advance? And I'm like, I shoot from the hip. And usually when I post something, I started typing 10 minutes before posting.
Ah, there you go.
And it's just like,
same way.
That's what I feel like. And it's usually a culmination of like, I read so much industry news throughout the week. So like reading, and then Thursday I'm like, find the article I like. Then I like read 5 other articles about it, so I can just talk about it, throw in a few different links and put that out there. And I've had some people say like, oh, you're like you're basically aggregating like industry news and you're consolidating it and you're just putting it out there. That's pretty true. Like not a whole lot of it is original thought and content. Yeah. It's like my thoughts on it.
It's framing.
But again,
it's framing it, synthesizing it.
That's what I'm trying to do, because I think that I know not everybody can spend as much time on. I mean, I've made a joke before. It says I don't really have a life, but it's like kind of true. So my life is supply chain, and so I'm able to have a few more hours in my day, and I can share that with people.
My habit is I find articles that I like, and then I email them to myself, and then I'll read a couple articles, and I'll find one like this one I want to talk about. So like I'll find something and say, oh, this one resonates with me, like whether it's Elon trying to buy Twitter and then not wanting to buy Twitter, or Amazon buying iRobot, like that's interesting. And then I'll put a post up and I'll see like, what's the engagement, what's the people that are looking at it. I go, okay, that's a topic someone cares about. And then I'll say, okay, let's convert that to a video. And the video stuff it's so much fun. I used to do prior recorded, and I'd be like, I have to be very specific in how I speak. I have to be very consistent in my words, no ums or ands. And I'm like, I'll just go live, and then it doesn't matter. I can, forgiveness is what happens, because you can't take it back. Once it's out there, and it's done. I love that. I love that aspect of it.
What maybe I just don't, because sometimes you feel like on LinkedIn you kind of get in like this LinkedIn pod, because LinkedIn's good with all the algorithms and the interactions and the networks. And so it's sometimes crazy to think that like when I started on LinkedIn, I didn't really have like a purpose. I wasn't doing it like supply chain. I didn't have a supply chain network. It was kind of like a broad network. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just trying to figure it out. Shout out to Albert and the LinkedIn Hard Mode Challenge, because that's what got me to just do something. And so I started there, and once you start to like build a network, you start to stay funneled into like I don't see hardly anything on LinkedIn that's not a supply chain post or like some viral post that has like 500,000 likes,
That's why I start doing posts about like flowers or aquariums or whatever. Cause like to your point, like we need to build audiences that expand past our niche, because I do understand the value of being really specific in what you do, but reaching out to that broader audience is something that's just test the algorithm and see, okay, what is it that people really want to see? And that's the fun part about it.
I would love to see, and I don't, maybe there's not a lot that do it, but I would love to find like some shippers, like some leaders at the shippers who talk logistics or supply chain. I think that'd be really cool.
My wife she worked for Unilever, she worked for Treehouse, and she worked for Carmex, which makes the lip balm folks. And so like I look at her LinkedIn feeds, and it's just a totally different world. It's about the robots that are used in the manufacturing process. Like, okay, I want to know more about that, because those are the shippers. Those are the people that are giving the stuff. That's why someone like Britton Ladd, like I absolutely adore Britton Ladd, because his posts span the gamut of this micro fulfillment, robotics, and all these other things. I'm like, okay, these are the things I need to know about, because I don't want to be insulated. I don't want to just live in my little lane. That's why the law stuff is interesting, and always finding ways. Did you ever work retail? Did you do retail before?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Like what'd you do? What'd you do?
Okay, well, when I turned 16, I worked at a grocery store, but then my first retail job, I worked sales floor and cashier at Nike. So I did that, and then I moved to college, and I sold shoes at Finish Line for commission. So that was my first sales job.
I never did retail commission. I did Best Buy and KB Toys, but there was never commission involved.
No, so I made I think I made like $5 an hour plus commission.
Wow. Okay, I was a waiter, so $4.90 plus like tips,
Yeah, and so I mean, I was making consistently over 10 or 12 an hour. Yeah. And then Finish Line shifted away from commission and went hourly. And so I will never forget, my manager goes, "Hey Sam, you're getting a raise from
You're like,
$5
yay.
to $7.75 an hour, but with them with
Oh.
commission. And I was like, bye. You know, like what?
I just
So
think everyone needs to experience working retail. I mean, you learn
yeah.
so much patience about like, okay, this is you're 4 a.m. at KB Toys, and everyone's like, I really want that fur real cat. You're like, we have 20, and like there's 70 of you. You're not gonna get it. Like, you should have sourced more. I'm like, we didn't. I can't help you. And you just learn that level
Yeah,
of patience because that's the nation.
we did the Jordan releases every time like a special release
Mm.
retro would come out, you know, and people would have to like line up. There'd be like 300 people in line, and I'm sitting there like, we have 40 pairs of shoes in the back of this building, like, and they're not going to be your size. So, yeah, and we worked there too, so they would come in and we would all buy it, like set ours aside and get our Jordans before we would even open the store.
I would do that with action figures. I'd be like, okay, this is the one I've been waiting for. I'm going to keep that in the back room. That's for me. That's for Papa. The rest of those people, they'll get whatever they need. I'm going to take care of myself.
Yeah, right, I feel like I have so many different, like, people are like, wait a minute. Like, I was a sneakerhead. I wore Jordans. And then, oh, yeah, I grew up, like, riding horses and hunting deer. It's like, there's really so many sides to
it's eclectic. And this is the thing about creative people. I think this is probably true for all of them. And I'm sure many of the people watching here we are all creative people. We all have a lot of interests that span a wide variety of things. There's only a few things we let people see different versions of our true self. Because here's one thing I really like about, like, we're not talking about Dungeons and Dragons. Brooke and I might talk about Dungeons and Dragons though. But this is like this world of like letting people into your private life through these types of ways of communication. What advice would you give to somebody today who's like, okay, I've never done this before. I never post things. What should I do? What would be your advice? Would you have any advice for them?
Yeah. So if it's like LinkedIn and you're just wanting to figure out like, how do I start? Literally just force yourself to commit to posting something. And pick how many days a week. When I did it, I went like all in, and it was 7 days a week.
Yeah,
you
have to. You have to.
But you could do 5, you could do 3, like whatever it is to start, and then up the ante in a couple weeks or whatever that is. But just force yourself to start there. I actually made like a video on this one time internally at my last employer. Yeah. I made like a video just talking through all the tips and tricks I think of getting started, and just interact on LinkedIn as well. Like, LinkedIn isn't just about you posting. It's about the comments and the conversations that you're having off of your own post. But basically, if you're totally lost and confused, just start doing something, because something's going to turn into, oh, I mean, I kind of like that. That kind of worked. You go try that, and then that's going to lead into something else, and that's going to lead into something else. So I feel like I'm never going to be like fully defined, because I'm not like, yeah, this is what I'm going to always do.
This is the recipe.
This is what works for me. Like, I'm pretty open to like shaking it up. So I literally, when I started, I was like, I'm going to make pre-recorded videos. I'll never do like live stuff. I don't want to.
Oh, you have. Oh,
we'll get and like, here I am.
Now you're doing it.
So yeah, I would just say, just start somewhere and just be yourself, because if you're like, oh, well, I see these types of things and those do really well. Well, somebody else is already doing it. Yeah. So maybe that works for them, but like something else might work for you.
The advice I give to everybody, that sometimes people ask me, sometimes they don't. I just assume that they do. The question I would say is, like, it's a flywheel. You are not isolated. So to your point of engaging with other people, you need to find other content creators and learn from them, engage with them, because that flywheel, they'll come back. This is a relationship business. And if someone says, oh, I like that thing, or I'm going to ask a question. So if I see someone who makes a video and, maybe, whatever they've done, I'll try to watch it. I'll ask 1 or 2 questions if I can, or I'll send them a private and say, hey, I love what you did here. Keep up the good work. Because it's really discouraging. It's hard to do this stuff. Now, we are getting close to our timeline. So I'm going to say, does anybody have questions for us, for my wonderful friend here, Samantha, or for myself? We can talk about whatever you want. Let's see. I'm going to watch in the comments and see if questions pop up. I have some questions for you.
You got a book? You getting out your book of questions?
I do.
Matt
have a
keeps
book.
This list. It's like questions for Samantha, like every day. Like
absolutely. Should Amazon buy iRobot? I mean, are we happy about that? Are we happy with that deal?
Oh man. So I was kind of reading a couple things on that, and I was curious because, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Amazon already have some form of like a robotics technology similar to that in the works for like the last 4 years or something?
They have everything. So, I mean, they bought Ring, so they have the doorbells and the cameras and all of that.
Now they know the entire layout of your home.
and what things are on your floor. I mean, I think that the future of this is going to be amazing. Amazon will know everything about you.
I mean, that's not a joke either, and I don't mean it to be
No,
like conspiracy theory either. I
that's
just
the
like think
point. You're
about the
100% right.
power of like they literally know like square footage of your home versus how many pieces of furniture you put in it versus like what type of toys are on the floor. Do you have animals in the home? So
Yes.
you want pet toys now? Because we see this dog bouncing around all
Oh,
the time. So
that's
let's
the flywheel. That's the
hit you with
flywheel.
those targeted, puppy treats or whatever it is. Like it's just there's so much that's going to be known there about consumer behaviors and abilities, and I think it's pretty crazy. So, I mean, sure, if you have whatever billions of dollars and you got to just drop a measly, 1 point something billion on this company,
1.7 billion with a
why not?
B. We have
Yeah,
Chris Horton. The question is, how much fun do you both have when you do live content? Well, Samantha, you're new to this, so are you enjoying it?
yeah, I am. Yeah, I think so. I talk usually the people I do live content with, I've talked with before, and
Yeah.
I talk so much. So like sometimes people just gotta tell me to stop, but it's really easy for me to just have a conversation with people, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, we're already at 30 minutes. So I always
My
have fun because talking with people is fun for me.
my favorite part, Chris, of that question about like, do you enjoy it? The live thing is a means to an end. Honestly,
Yeah.
for me, it's that before we go live and that 20 minutes after, and like
Hmm.
those conversations are phenomenal. I hosted guests for Trey a couple with me last week, something like that, and like Matt Gore was the guest from Contract Leasing Corporation, 18,000 trailers by the end of this year in terms of his fleet, and just talking after that. Oh, in transportation, we're dropping F bombs every other word. And it's just amazing. It's amazing. All right, we have another.
So okay, go ahead.
Oh, no, you go ahead. I'm going to say, let's see. Kiva Systems, Amazon bought for 700 million, I think, for the first robotics company. That's
Yeah.
very, very interesting. They
Yeah,
have
I
money
think they've
forever.
had one in development for a very long time, but like
Buy or build.
why have to push that out when iRobot already has all the information that they want? It's not even the technology, I don't think. It's the information that's already there. It's the data that they're already
Yeah,
buying.
100%. It's existing information and the existing customer base. Like, I just want to
Yeah.
put Alexa inside the robot so I can say, Alexa, go clean this
Oh
area.
my gosh, I have the best story about like work from home type thing yesterday. I'm on the phone yesterday with a guy. I was switching over my car insurance, like all the fun stuff that
Oh,
you do when
nice.
you're
That's a
between
good
jobs.
conversation.
And this guy's like calculating like rates and stuff with different providers. We have armed forces insurance, so they can kind of like shop out for you. And he goes, "You're about to hear me be really stupid. I apologize." And then he just goes, "Hey Alexa, what's 70% of answers?" And then he goes, his comment after that, he goes, "I love working from home." And I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't even like I didn't know 70% of that number off the top of my head. So it was the best. Like,
I remember I've working from home now since 2018. So I've been doing this for a little bit. But I remember I was on a big meeting, big pitch meeting, and my wife was out shopping, and my 4-year-old at the time, now he's 6, but he was 4 at the time. He screamed. He says, "I went poop," and I go,
oh yeah.
"I have to go," and then boom, go. Working from home is amazing. I will
Oh yeah.
never probably work in a real office again. This flexibility and the ability to reach out and just kind of be comfortable is amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah. That could be a whole nother topic because now that we're starting to like people are going back in office, I see it almost every day on my feed. And it's like, work from home, it has so many downsides. It's not going to last. It's not permanent. It's not, you can't really develop your people. You can't be a great leader. Da, 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 da. And I'm just like sitting here laughing, like, you
That's
guys
right.
don't know me.
This one thing I
No
think employers
chance.
are learning is like the flexibility that we have today. I remember in a past role, some long, long time ago, I'm sure I was going to be on a program, and someone came to me and said, "Matt, from my organization, did you get approval from marketing to do this?" And I go, "No." "Did you get approval from legal to?" I go, "No, I didn't get approval from anybody." And they said, "Well, you probably need to." I go, "Well, let me ask you this: Are you going to write me up if I don't?" And they said, "No." I said, "Oh, are you going to terminate me if I don't get approval?" "Well, no." So we're done then. Like, we're just going to keep
Well,
doing
that's
this.
that.
And that's what
That's
it is.
awesome.
That's how it
Yeah.
goes. Oh, so
Yep.
Morgan, she just put in her 2-week notice. No more office. There you go. Congratulations,
Yes, that's
Morgan.
awesome. Congrats,
If you
Morgan.
need any help, let us know. I don't know a
And
lot of people. I know some people.
so I would like to say before this is over, Morgan's one of the people that I'm going to have a virtual coffee with. And people think I'm like the biggest jerk because I have like 55 people that I said, yes, let's do it. And then it's like sitting in my inbox. I also do this thing where I get overwhelmed. So I like jump in there, see all these dots, and like jump back out because I'm like, whoa. Also, I don't have a computer right now, so I'm working off of a phone. And
Oh
like
my goodness. Oh, that's why these streaming are such a pain for you. I'm so sorry.
everything's so difficult from a phone, right? So I'm trying to do like you know, sending invites and managing email inboxes, and I switched over from, you know, Outlook to Gmail, and so I get in Gmail, I'm not used to the look, and there's so much there, and I'm like,
Well, we have one more comment here from Barry. I love Barry. If anyone follows Barry, he's a driver, he's a broker, awesome dude. This is true. Amazon will want to come into your house and deliver things for you. And you'll never know. They'll have the humans inside, they'll have the robots inside. I, for one, welcome our robot overlords. Samantha, thank you for being here today. Thank you for joining us for a conversation with coffee. I have a thing I got to go to, but you know what? I hope we can have more of these in the future.
Absolutely. Maybe on mine next time. We did.
Yes.
We'll do mine next time.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to end the broadcast. We'll talk for a second. Bye, everybody.